What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video.
In this video, I'll be giving my review of the Amazon Lily arc in One Piece. But before we get into the video,
please be sure to subscribe to the channel as well as the notification bell to get notified for more content that I put out. As well, if you end up enjoying this video, be sure to hit us with a like and leave a comment and let us know your thoughts on the Amazon Lily arc in One Piece. So, without any further ado, let's just get into it, y'all.
If she ain't got a butt, fucking get into it, yo.
Amazon Lily, here we go. Fresh off the heels of Sabaody Archipelago. Hopefully I said that right, but whatever. So let's start with it. Highs and lows. How you feeling about this arc?
Yeah, this arc had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. They were interchangeable as well. Some of the highs were also a low, so yeah. There's lots going on. So one of the highs, straight off the bat, is some of our questions were answered. We found out where Luffy went. And towards the end of the arc, this is another, I guess one of the lows, is we had to wait very long to find out where all the other Straw Hats went. But we also found out where they went. So that's a high. We got to know where everybody went. There was some seriously serious character building, specifically with our guy Luffy. He really just wowed me during this whole arc. And I fell in love with him all over again. So that was a serious high. His character building specifically, I think. And then also the connections that we have been making throughout this whole arc. Insane. It was full of comedy, hope, and some randomness. Always randomness. I would have loved to be random.
It's One Piece without being random.
Exactly. And again, there was still comedy and hope despite all of the tragedy that has just happened and that is currently happening. Yeah. And some of the lows, I take this as a low and a high. It's very low that Luffy is without his crew right now. However, silver lining, it's a bit of a high because of that character building we're getting from him. Like, he needs to learn how to be alone to kind of, for especially us, the viewers, to see how important the crew is to him and his character. Because without them, we see how kind of helpless he is. Yeah. But also, he's growing himself by being alone. So it's definitely a low that they're not there because we miss them a lot. But a high because of his character building. Yeah. Another low is, of course, Ace. Yeah, Ace. We find out at the end, or Luffy finds out towards the end of the arc what's happening with Ace. So that's of course a low.
Yeah, I mean, with all that, let's maybe get into Kuja Island itself. What do you think about this island, the Amazon Lily?
Yeah, I'll say every good world needs an Amazon Island. DC got one. One Piece got one. It's important. We need an island full of women. I'm very curious about it because Princess Hancock Hammock is their princess, and I would think as a leader I would need to prepare my people for any threat that may come. But these people on the island, the women on the island, don't even know what a man is. Yeah. And that's a threat, if you ask me. So that was interesting to me. I'm just curious, like how and why they're so naive to people of the outside world.
Ignorance is not always bliss.
Yeah. So that's interesting to me. I just love the concept of an Amazon island, though. And it's just interesting and funny that Luffy landed there, and it's a good thing Sanji did not land there.
He would have died.
He would have died in an instant.
He might, where he is now, I think he might die. So
yeah,
we can get into that more.
Yeah.
So Luffy arrives to the island. Let's get into what you thought once he shows up here on the little paw.
Yeah. So he showed up laying on the paw. And right away, he was hungry, of course. So Sanji wasn't there to guide him to which mushrooms he could eat, which he pointed out. And so he started eating all the mushrooms. One of the mushrooms was quite poisonous and took over his whole body. Yeah. A little infection spread all across his body. So that's how we were introduced to Luffy landing on the island. And then Marguerite comes and finds him, and she thinks he's a she. So this whole time, she's like, oh, we have to get the mushrooms off her body. She took her back to, like, the main village. I'm going to just refer to him as she now. To get the mushrooms removed. And once they got a majority of the mushrooms off, they took her to the community bath, I guess, to the pool. And they were like, oh, there's one more mushroom between her legs. Let's pull it off. And it was not a mushroom. So that was hilarious.
Get nasty on the island.
And then I think it was Grandma that realized, or there was somebody that realized, like, oh, that is not a woman, that's a man, and that is also not a mushroom. So that's
a pee-pee.
That was quite hilarious. And then when Luffy wakes up, he's locked up. Because they realize he's a man and no men are allowed, so they lock him up, and they're very anxious to get him off the island or kill him before the princess comes, because no men allowed.
What'd you think about the fact that Luffy, just kind of like seeing Luffy just do a lot of things without his crew? Because we're so used to, seeing a lot of people supplement what Luffy's not good at. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those moments where it's just like, okay, yeah, Luffy's super strong and he can really, pull people towards him, polarizing, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, there's so many things he's just bad at.
Yeah, I think this is where we get to really see a lot of his crew's strengths. Like we said, he ate poisonous mushrooms because Sanji wasn't there. He wants to go find his crew, but he obviously doesn't know how to navigate an ocean, and Nami's not there. He got very sick from the mushrooms. Chopper's not there to help him.
Yeah, couldn't build a ship.
Couldn't build a ship without Frankie. So there's just so many missing pieces to him as a pirate without his crew.
Yeah.
And he knows that. So
let's get into what happens once Luffy kind of like starts running away. For the most part, he's like, actually, it's like an interesting detail. If they get into like hockey a little bit more on this island too. That seems very normally used. I don't know if that caught your attention. That like
during the fight, we're jumping to the fight now.
Not to the fight, but like while they were chasing him around.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, when they were chasing him around. So once he escapes, Marguerite and
I forgot. The
other two
Amazonesses.
Amazonians.
Yeah.
Were chasing him around the jungle, trying to kill him before the princess came. Meanwhile, the princess was arriving, and Luffy realizes that they also have haki because they are predicting his moves. Yeah. So not only did CP9 have this, and that other little nephew dude from
well, you're thinking about the predicting moves thing. That's different from the damage thing, because like they were shooting the arrows and the arrows were
and they were actually able to hurt him.
Yeah, they were like
strong.
Yeah,
I mean there were two different types that they were doing.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in regards to like the physical fighting that he was like, why am I getting hurt? But like also the arrows were like doing mad damage. They were missing him, but this was doing mad damage. He was like, yo, what's going on? And they're just like casually talking about the hockey there. So
yeah, so we're learning more about hockey.
Yeah. So from there though, let's get into the girl, Boa.
HANCOCK.
What's your thoughts on her introduction, her sister's personality, powers? It's a lot happening here.
She put me through the ringer with my feelings towards her, because at first I thought she was dope. We were first introduced to her when she went onto the marine ship.
Yeah.
And at first I thought of Medusa because of the snakes and everything. And then when I realized she could turn them into stone, I was like, oh, that's powerful. Like, you know how many times I've wanted to turn a man into stone because he hit on me on the street? That'd be fire. So the fact that...
I'm worried for a second.
So I was really into her. And then she arrives on her island. She kicks a cat. She smashes a statue that children made for her.
It's one thing you don't like is ruining children's projects.
In honor of her. So I was like, who is this devil? I lost respect for her after that. And then, of course, when she sentenced Luffy to die, yeah, she put me through the ringer. But then we end up loving her at the end, and it's which we'll get into. But she is something else.
Were you impressed that we got ourselves our first female warlord?
Yes, yeah, that's another big thing is we find out she is one of the 7 warlords.
Yeah.
And she has her own island, and she's very powerful, of course, because she's beautiful and has pretty privilege. She's very powerful, so she has her own island. No one can enter that island because of all the sea monsters.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's pretty dope.
She also looks down upon everybody. That's why she does that. The all the way tilted back. Well, did you like
something?
Did you like her powers?
I loved her. I loved her. Loved her powers.
The metal.
Yeah.
Luffy's so crazy, actually, because when Luffy's kind of dealing with her, he thinks that it's the slow beam.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah, that was funny.
No.
Wait.
I'm good.
Because it doesn't affect Luffy.
Yeah, and then you have her 2 sisters there that are also seems like they have like snaky type abilities, but you don't really like snakes, so maybe you should shut up.
I'm not a big fan of snakes.
Not a big fan.
I like lizards and frogs and not snakes.
But yeah, I mean, Luffy's running around the island. We have all this chaos, and then like Luffy has the bright idea because he's like, I need to find somebody in charge. So
to the tallest tower. I mean, he's not wrong.
he ended up being right.
Important people are in tall towers, penthouses.
And
Rich people live up there.
Zoro would have never found his way there anyway. So
Zoro would have got lost, even though it's very obvious where it is.
But yeah, let's get into that scene though. When Luffy kind of crashes into the bath.
Yeah, this is an important scene.
Yeah. Because this went way differently my first time watching it than I thought it was gonna go. I thought it was just gonna be like she was gonna get mad on some pervy type stuff, but this kind of like took just a turn in regards to like how Luffy reacted, how they reacted, kind of the seriousness. So what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think... So, Luffy crashes through. She's naked in the bath. And she was in such a vulnerable state because he saw her back. So I think that's why it didn't escalate in that moment, because I think she just felt really vulnerable.
Yeah.
And this is when we find out that she has a mark on her back, which I didn't fully understand what it was at first. I thought it was like eyes, because that's what they told all of the townspeople, the whole island, because
they have the Gorgon eyes or whatever.
Yeah, because they don't want them to fully know what it is. So I was confused as to what that was, but I understand why things didn't escalate, because she was vulnerable. And this is when they said they would rather die than have people see their back.
Yeah. So because of this incident, we get into this the trial in the arena.
Yes.
So let's get into that. Let's get into some details there.
Yeah. This made me. I think this was the big point where I started like really being like, oh, Luffy, my heart. Okay, so there's a trial. All of the islanders, the Amazonians, are there, and Hancock sentences Luffy to die. He she tells her sisters to kill him, but Marguerite stands up and she's like, no, like, it's my fault. She tries to defend him, and then the other 2 Amazonians that were with her also were like, no, and then automatically Hancock turns them to stone, and this pisses Luffy off, because there's one thing you can't do. If you mess with someone that has helped Luffy, it's over for you.
It's going to war.
It's over for you.
Going to war. We need Luffy for America. Luffy for America.
Yes. Yeah, seriously. So this is when I was like, oh, Luffy, because he barely. Also, Marguerite and her 2 friends were trying to kill Luffy in the jungle, just like earlier that day. Yeah. So I was like, and you still. Anyway, and it's just because Marguerite helped him once. So he gets mad and he's like, bet, let's fight. And he got his ass whooped a little bit by the 2 sisters. The sisters did not disappoint. They turned into big snakes and...
Yeah, I forgot what they're from. One of them was a cobra and the other one was I don't know, snakes. Different snake species that well. I don't know. Their names are Marigold and Sandersonia. I'm trying to remember what different snake fruits they had. Because they both had snake fruits, but like different models.
Ones.
Was it a cobra? What's a different type of snake? Oh my god. Not a rattlesnake.
That's the only snake I could think of in my head. I don't like snakes.
Nah, whatever.
Ask me about frogs, and I can give you a few. But, so, snakes were effing shit up. Luffy, like, he was genuinely getting beat up. But before even this fight happened, he made sure to move Marguerite, the stone Marguerite, and the two islanders, Amazonians, her friends, away from the fight so that they didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And so this whole time also, like, we keep getting, like, little glimpses of Hancock's reaction to what he's doing, and I think this is when she starts realizing, like, oh, this dude's kind of nice. Also, what's funny with all this, too, just a side note, is during this fight and when Luffy is showing off his powers in Devil Fruit, all of the Amazonians are just generalizing that this is a man. So, like, all men are rubber. Like, oh, wow, all men look like this.
That's
like,
what they do?
it's really funny. Because it's the first man they've ever seen. Okay, so, yeah, things escalate. But we know Luffy. He goes into gear second, and that's that. It's a wrap. Wait.
You're like, wait, there's a lot of...
There's actually a lot that happens here. We find out that Luffy has some haki. He doesn't know it, but everybody else, well, not everybody else, well, everybody else, I guess, does know it, so...
they don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, they were about to crush Stone Marguerite, and that pisses him off, so he's like, stop it, basically, and it knocked out more than half of the crowd, and it made the Snake Sisters stop what they were doing.
Yeah.
And, dang, I wish I had those powers as a teacher.
You're trying to... Okay.
Wow, you know how many times I'm like, pause your body! Wow. Anyway, so then, yeah, he yelled that, and everybody was just like passed out, and then the Snake Sisters were in shock. And then Hancock, I just want to make sure I get the name right, was like, I've only seen this in like 1 in a million people. And we know that Shanks has this, and Rayleigh, and the Dark Knight.
Dark King.
Dark King. Thank you. Batman. And this haki form is called the Supreme King.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. We found out about Luffy. So that was A1. So yeah. Then Luffy wins, and one of the sisters is her clothes fall off or something because he was...
It's because the sister had the fire powers, and she accidentally got, like, when Luffy tangled them up, like, her fire got on the other sister.
Oh, what was the snake with...
See, now you think about the snake types.
Yeah. We'll look into this afterwards.
Yeah, because she did something where she set herself on fire, and the other one was able to kind of, like, use her hair to create...
The poison was the fire one, right?
Was it? I thought it was two different ones. One could use poison, one could use fire.
Golly. We'll know after this video because I'm gonna...
But yeah, wow, which sister is which?
I don't know.
Sister with the orange hair and sister with the green hair. We go on green and orange, fine. Orange catches on fire, lands on green. Green's clothes starts like burning up and like start disintegrating, and so that's when she's falling over.
Green's about to fall over, and because she's naked, you see her back, and her whole back is exposed to the
spikes on
audience.
the ground too.
Yeah. So instead of Luffy being like, bye, fall to those spikes, he actually jumps onto her to cover her back.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, well, you said you'd rather die than have your back shown, so.
Yeah, because they thought he was being nasty at first. It was like, yo, he all up on her. But then both
Wasn't
Hancock
true.
and everybody else realizes, well, those two realize, like, oh, he's protecting her.
Yeah.
And that's when they just make everybody evacuate the arena because they think that they're all going to see the Gorgon eyes, but ends up being much different than that.
Yep.
So,
and that's another when we're like, oh, but not only do we fall in love with Luffy, somebody else falls in love with Luffy after this, so let's get into that a little bit.
I mean, there's some powerful moments here, though, still, like, because once this kind of fight ends, like, Boa Hancock then kind of hits Luffy with the ultimatum. Like she kind
Oh, yeah, the big ultimatum was, listen, you defeated my sisters, you won, so...
And you protected us.
And you protected us, true. So I can either give you a ship to go find your friends, or I can turn your new friends, Marguerite, back to normal. And he's like, I bet, turn them back to normal. Unstone them. And that took her by surprise because she is probably just used to people being selfish.
Yeah.
Even though finding your friends technically isn't selfish. But so she was like, oh. And then she was like, I think that's when she started getting a little crushy crush.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they end up back because she's very taken aback by this. Marguerite, everything was back to normal.
Yeah.
They ended back in the castle or whatever.
Yeah,
tower.
They bring Luffy back to the castle. They send Marguerite and the rest of the girls because they don't remember nothing while they're stoned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they didn't know nothing that happened. They were just like, yeah, they seemed like they just took him back to the castle.
Yeah.
So then we end up back in the castle. Luffy's chilling, doing his thing. Then we get some backstory.
Yeah, we get a huge backstory. So this
Yeah.
is when we start getting a different side of Hancock, and we were like, oh, no wonder why you are the way you are. So Hancock, that big symbol on her and her sister's back was not the Gorgonized. It ended up being a brand because they were enslaved by the one and only celestial dragons, who we all hate. So, big connection to the Archipelago Islands. And then Luffy, when he actually saw what it looked like, he's like, huh, that looks kind of familiar. It looks like my friend Hachi's thingy on his head, but can't be, it's a sun. But then we find out that actually that sun used to be that brand that's on their back,
Yeah.
but then Fisher Tiger.
Fisher Tiger. Think about
So
Fisher
close.
Price except for
Fisher Tiger, who was also enslaved, escaped and freed mad people, and then started his own pirate crew.
Yeah. You're right there.
Sun
The sun what?
Pirates.
There we go. I was like, you was right there.
The Sun Pirates. He started the Sun Pirates, hence the sun tattoo. So you would have never really been able to tell that it was once a brand. And
It's kind of interesting though that Luffy put that together because no average, I don't know, regular person would have put that together. Like, oh, those two look the same. I'm like, those don't look the same at all. To me, like one's clearly a sun and one's clearly, I don't know.
Yeah.
A claw, a paw, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, after Boa Hancock opens up, kind of lets everybody know the backstory. They're just ashamed of that past, so they cover it up by not letting nobody see it, since they were kidnapped for so many years because they were taken off their ship originally as kids, chilling.
Yeah.
Seems like Boa starts after opening up, getting a little bit more connected because she realized how much Luffy is about that after Celestial Dragon's life.
Mm-hmm. And again, she became vulnerable again and realized that she could trust Luffy with this information. So then that's when she was like, something's happening. But she suddenly got sick. And I had predicted in the moment when she got sick, I was like, oh, she's lovesick, obviously.
Obviously, that happens to everybody.
Yeah, I was like, she's lovesick. And then Grandma said she was lovesick. I was like, oh, I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she ends up getting lovesick because she has a huge crush on Luffy. And the grandma said that it happened to her in the past too, which was interesting. Yeah. A little crushy crush. Yeah. And so she'll do basically anything Luffy asks now. So.
Yeah. But speaking of the grandma,
yes.
The grandma's also here. She had she got hold of a newspaper when the Kuja pirates came back from raiding the marine kind of stuff. What they do is they usually travel, they gather up stuff and bring it back to the island. And sometimes the grandma gets information from old newspapers or other ones. But she sees in this newspaper, this is how she finds out who Luffy is and his bounty and all his shenanigans of Sabaody. But she also gets another piece of information, which kind of derails Luffy's plans a little bit and what he's going to do.
Yeah, so we know originally Luffy was going to go and get his crew, of course. But he finds out that Ace is going to get executed at Impel Down. Luffy doesn't fully understand the depth, literally, of Impel Down.
I see what you did there.
Of Impel Down. So, but the grandma kind of explains it. Like, he kind of gets how serious this is. And then he looks at his vivre.
Vivre card, yeah.
Vivre, got that. I always mess up that word. Card. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go save my brother because...
He's fighting for his life.
He is, literally. But also, Luffy has so much faith in his crew. He knows they're aight.
Yeah.
But his brother is clearly not right now, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's a powerful moment because he's sitting there just like... He's like, I know y'all won't be too pissed if I make this decision. He's kind of like thinking about all of them, but this is what he has to do. He knows that this is what he wants to do for the most part.
Yeah. So luckily, so this is when things started connecting for me because we'll get into where the Straw Hats are in a second, but when the last arc, I wasn't 100% upset. I know that sounds mean, but I wasn't really upset that the Straw Hats got sent away by Kuma because I always had this like feeling that he was sending them to a good place or like in the back of my mind I think Kuma's I wasn't that fazed by it because I just feel that Kuma is a good guy. Just feel it in my guts. I feel like I have a good sense of judgment with that in real life and in movies and I don't know. So I just feel like he's a good guy. So I felt like wherever they went was going to be okay. So this is when it came full circle to me. Luffy, in my eyes, was sent here for a reason. And this was the reason, to meet Hancock, because without meeting Hancock, he wouldn't be able to go to Impel Down to save his brother. Yeah. His brother is a huge part of this new era that I feel Kuma and Aokiji, and I'm not sure who else, I feel like they're so for this new era. Not sure why yet, there's so many things I want answered, but I feel like they're so for it that Kuma sent him here for a reason. Yeah. And it's because Hancock, before she arrived back on the island, she was on the ship with the Marines, and the Marines were like, yo, Ace is about to get executed, which means there's going to be a huge war because Daddy Whitebeard is coming is coming to save Ace because that's his son. So she was like, I'm not going with you. Like, I'm not going to Impel Down. Like, we're good. Whatever. And he's like, okay, well, then we're going to go to your island, basically. And
that's the Marine dude, yeah. My mom.
Yeah. And she wasn't that fazed by it. She wasn't worried. She's like, I'll just turn you all to stone, whatever. Yeah. But now she's like, I can get you to Impel Down. I will call this dude back and say, all right, I'll go, and I'll sneak you on the ship and
all for Daddy Luffy.
All for Zaddy Luffy.
How do you feel about this crush, though?
I think it's fun, and I just think it's like fun to see Luffy's, and I think it's gonna play an important role somehow. I mean, it already does. It gets Luffy here, so it's all important.
He uses this to his advantage.
I think it's fun. It's interesting to me that it's all happening because like,
I mean, this even like the hilariousness of like he has no interest in. He doesn't even aware that she's into him. Yeah. She's just like, she makes up these scenarios, which is absolutely hilarious. Yes. Of like Luffy saying, even you was so confused on the screen, you was just like, why does Luffy look like that?
Also, yeah, it was kind of uncomfortable seeing Luffy look like that.
They were trying to make Luffy look sexy?
Yeah. No,
we don't see Luffy that way. He's not like that.
No.
Well, it's just funny because Luffy doesn't have those thoughts ever. Hancock's powers don't even work on him because that's how we didn't even get into how Hancock's powers work specifically. So you want to kind of explain a little bit more about that?
How do they work?
Yeah.
I don't know how they work. She turns them to stone, like the heart, the beam.
Yeah.
People, as soon as people get like swindled by her, like they swoon because of her, she's able to turn them to stone.
Yeah.
That's basically it, right? Like, I don't know the science behind why she...
Yeah. If you have any, like, attraction or infatuation towards her.
Yeah. Which could be any gender.
In any way. Yeah. Or no gender. In any form. Because people can think
even if she's just, like, cute, like, does something cute, they're like, oh, that was so cute. And then, boom, you're a stone.
You're a stone. That's it. Yeah. But, yeah, let's get into this decision that Luffy has to make going into Impel Down. The grandma basically says, yo, take the ship. The ship has the special things. If you use a marine ship instead of a regular ship, because it's going to take less time to save Ace and Impel Down versus if you try to take a ship going the long way around.
Yeah, basically, if he took the ship that didn't, the ship that wasn't the marine ship, he would get there too late to save Ace. but if he took the marine ship, it would take him like 4 days.
Yeah.
And the reason why the marine ships get there faster is because it follows this specific current that only they can follow.
Yeah.
So he only really had one choice, which was to go with Hancock. Yeah. And the way he did it was he hid under her cloak and like...
She liked that, though.
She loved that.
So, that's it. Luffy's on his way to Impel down to save his brother. And the Straw Hats are wherever the Straw Hats are. So, let's get into that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, as mentioned, I felt like everybody was where they were supposed to be. Kuma sent them there for a reason. For us, as we develop these characters and they're becoming stronger, it's to really... it's just, again, to get them stronger and to have them progress in ways and then bring everything they've learned back to the crew, and then the whole crew will be stronger. So I thought everything was going to be for a reason. They're going to learn, progress, and become more knowledgeable. So what I tried to do was when each character was shown, I was like, okay, why and how are they going to progress here? What skill are they going to obtain from being here? So the most obvious was Nami, because it was just perfect. It's perfect that she went up there. But Nami woke up at, also they all woke up, like, knocked out, basically. So someone had to find them to help them, or they woke up really confused as to where they are. So Nami woke up in Weatheria. And, an old guy found her, and it's a weather island. It's perfect for her. So, and it ended up, she found out a little bit later that it's in the sky. It's a sky island called Weatheria. So I think it's pretty obvious. I think she's going to learn from this old man, just how to control the weather or something, or learn more about the weather, which is still perfect for her and her navigation skills.
I mean, they even had those, like, interesting knots that they had.
And she already showed us how she could use that to power up her blue
technology
thingy.
or whatever.
What's that blue thing called? What's it called? It's a blue rod.
Climatact.
That sounds right.
Climatact.
Cool. So she already used the Climatact with the knots, and that was incredible.
Yeah.
Frankie, this is so exciting, and I want to find out more. Frankie.
Super. No, sorry.
Frankie. Every time I say his name, he does that, by the way. Ends up at the future island. It's like it's a winter island. The climate is winter. And he dances with some people's. That was fun and whatever, but the biggest memorable thing is it shows Vegapunk, the scientist that I've been dying to find out more about, and it's so wonderful that Frankie's here because somehow they can connect and Frankie can learn something about the engineering behind maybe Kuma or the pacifistas.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm killing it. I'm killing the game. I'm remembering all the words and the names. So I think it's so important. He's going to learn something from Vegapunk, and I'm really excited about that because I've been dying to know more about him. So that's Frankie. That was his purpose there. Sanji, I don't know his purpose for this island, but it's hilarious so far. Or maybe, I don't know. So Sanji ends up on what is seemingly I thought it was like a second Amazonian island. I'm like, oh, dope. But no.
It's a kingdom of Okamas. That's what they use, the term Okama.
Yeah, it was a seemingly woman that turned out to not be his type. And it was very funny. But maybe, I was like, maybe on this island he'll learn to, like, get over his whatever misogynistic view of, like, not fighting. This sounds so weird for me to even say this because I obviously don't hit
this whole sentence doesn't
don't hit a woman, but also like if this woman is powerful and going to kill you and your crew, obviously fight for you and your crew. Everybody else does it, so
she's like, nothing makes sense that I'm about to say right now.
It's like so anti that, but also so for it when it comes to this.
You're like, stop being useless. I mean, what's hilarious though is that, like, I knew you would coming into this. I was like, she's gonna be like, what the hell is going on with Sanji right now, and what island is this? Because it makes you think that it's just like, oh, he's on a similar island to Luffy, and he's like, and it starts off. They give you a dramatic thing where he's like apologizing to like Robin and Nami, and you're like, well, is he apologizing because he thinks he's cheating on them or something?
that's what you first thought, and then no, he's apologizing because
he thinks he's gonna die. He said, I'm not gonna make it.
Or maybe because he has this really gross view of what like his perfect woman is, so maybe he'll just have a broader view because he kept on saying such mean things about the first mermaid he met, Kokoro. Oh my god, I was so close. And that was kind of gross. Like, she's a mermaid too. She looks great.
Everybody was killing her though.
So Sanji was a man.
Zoro was killing her. Zoro was like, I never met a mermaid. I don't know what you're talking about.
He said, okay, he wasn't as dramatic as Sanji.
No, Zoro doesn't even have as many emotions as Sanji.
Maybe, I don't know. He's gonna learn something about the value of a woman.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. So that's Sanji. Usopp he went to that plant man eating.
Yeah, some man eating plants and all that stuff on the island.
Yeah.
It's called the Boyne Archipelago.
Boyne?
Yeah.
And he was saved by a little sniper dude.
Nah, he wasn't a sniper. He was just like a warrior. He was dressed as like a beetle. Heracles. Like a Hercules.
Heracles, oh yeah. I assumed that he could snipe for some reason.
Nah.
But we know Usopp loves a good warrior, so maybe he was meant to go here to learn from this little beetle guy.
Yeah.
And he'll improve on something, some type of skill, and build on those warrior skills that he desperately wants and needs. Not trying to talk shit about Usopp, but...
She's like, not trying to talk shit about Usopp. You don't want the Usopp smoke?
He's just still... I know he's going to turn around eventually, but right now he's not my favorite still, but it's fine. No hate against him, though.
Alright.
Then we have Brook. This was hilarious. Brook wakes up in the middle of a cult circle.
Cults, I guess.
Yeah, in the middle of a cult circle. He's on the land of poverty. He just wakes up and basically this cult was trying to summon the devil, and Brook showed up. So it's like, oh, we did it! And one of the first things Brook does is turn to a lady and he's like, let me see your panties. And then they're like, show him your panties because we just summoned the devil. So that was funny. What he's going to learn there, I don't know. I don't have any theory for that. Like, what could he...
Maybe unleash his inner demon.
Maybe. Rawr. I don't have any guesses for that, but it was funny. It was definitely funny. Robin, this was another huge one.
Yeah, Robin might have had the deepest
This was the biggest one because she also had the most screen time for this. I'm really excited for her too. I'm excited for her. I'm excited for all of them, but mainly hers and Frankie's because I want to learn more about Vegapunk.
Your favorite ship?
What?
Your favorite ship, Robin and Frankie.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Robin.
Ah, that's funny how that worked out. But Robin ends up. It's not really an island. It's on the bridge that has been built for over 700 years or so.
Yeah.
And when she found that out, she was like, oh, so it went into like the void century. So I think she's going to learn something important about history here, which is going to help her solve some things, I think. But also maybe she'll put an end to it and really help these people. Who knows? But so far that has been really interesting.
Yeah, because it was powerful here because she ends up here, like the little girl saves her and like the people are like sheltering her and trying to take care of her. Kind of similar to what Robin dealt with as a kid. And then people were ready to sell her out once they found out that she was being searched for. But like these people didn't like try to sell her out, but Robin did what she didn't do what she normally did in the past. Kind of like she showed her growth being with the Straw Hats where she did what was right. But she just said, I'm going to just go fight them myself. I'm not going to have y'all sacrifice yourselves for me and leave y'all for dead. So that was dope here.
Yeah, some growth on her end as well. They're all also growing just like by being alone too.
Yeah.
No matter who they meet. Chopper
Your boy.
wakes up in Torino. Don't also know his purpose here, besides maybe just like becoming stronger by being alone, because he needs a little bit more courage. My little Chopper friend, because something about Chopper. Oh, I did have one guess, but one thing about Chopper is like it seems, he might not, or maybe this is just my perception of it. It seems that he forgets how powerful he is sometimes. Like it's almost like he forgets that he can transform. And I love me some Chopper. I do. I'm just like, come on, bro. Like, you can turn into a whole giant reindeer. Like,
They like to keep Chopper in baby form, so they sell more toys.
yeah, and he is
See,
adorable.
they sell more toys.
Yes, this is my little Chopper, Tamagotchi. He's sleeping right now because it's past his bedtime.
He died earlier today.
He's died probably 8 times since I got this, but he comes back to life. So, and in different forms. So, highly recommend it if you like Tamagotchis.
Yeah.
Get you a Chopper. But anyways.
Yeah, the Chopper thing is really just him getting chased by a bunch of cavemen and running for some big birds.
Yeah, so it's like maybe he'll grow from this island in learning how to fend for himself, or my guess was, so back in the day, we're CP9.
Andy's Lobby?
Sheesh, thank you.
That felt that long ago?
Feels
You just watched that.
Well, going into Impel Down has been a little trip for me, but yeah, in Annie's Lobby, when he was fed in CP9, when he first took the rumble 3 times or whatever, when he turned into giant monster, I was hoping that he would somehow learn how to control that part of him, because like that the CP9 member he was against, definitely forgot that person's name, like had control all over their body, of their hair and things. So I was like, maybe Chopper can learn how to control his body entirely when he's in that state, because then he'll be like barely defeatable in my eyes. So maybe by being alone here, and maybe he'll meet, I don't know, maybe he'll learn how to control that. That's my hope for him here. Let's go into, who are we missing?
It's the last one.
Zoro.
Your boy.
Hold him for this. Zoro wakes up with Perona. Yes. Oh my god, that was spot on. That was impressive. You practice that in the shower or something?
Imagine.
Well, I'm not home.
In the shower just doing that.
I'm not home all day when you sit at your little table.
All right.
That was impressive. Wakes up with Perona, which like was kind of random, but I was happy about, because I did enjoy her character. She was funny, and the ghosts were interesting to me. And so my only maybe guess for Zoro here is like,
he has kids.
What? He has kids?
He has kids with her. That's the only thing you can think, right?
No, he would never.
Triggered.
No, I was like, what are you talking about? Definitely did not pass my mind. But no, my only hope for him, because he felt like very hurt by the fact that he was hurt by her ghosties. Like, he didn't like being in that state of mind, because it's Zoro, and he's trying to strengthen his mind and body. So I'm like, maybe he'll learn how to not be affected. Or maybe he'll bring her on board, bring her back with them, and she can be a big part of it. She can join the crew. Are there any? I don't see any statues of her.
Why you always gotta look at the statues?
You're
cheating. You just...
Well, you only have the main 5 right there anyway.
Alright. Why are you still looking? We're recording a video. We're literally recording a video.
I'm wondering if she's gonna play a part in maybe she's gonna come back with them, or maybe she's gonna do something important. Anyway, so maybe he's supposed to go back to her. Maybe that's the purpose, and why, we'll find out.
Yeah. But,
some inner reflecting too.
Yeah, that's all the Straw Hats. We start to get to basically the end of the arc now at this point.
Yeah.
And it closes out with
some sadness.
So let's get into Ace and Garp.
Yeah, so of course Grandpa Garp shows up to Impel Down. At first I was like, Garp is gonna help him, maybe, because like he type helped Luffy, kind of like he was sent to go get him and then pretended he got away. But instead, he was just kind of like, oh, did you hear about Luffy? Like, Luffy, with Annie's lobby and everything. And it was cute because then Ace, like, smiled. Like, while he was, like, looking down all defeated, he, like, smiled because he heard that Luffy was making a huge change in the new era. But then Garp was just like, yeah, like, this is causing a war and all these things. And Ace was like, just kill me here. Like, kill me here because Ace doesn't want to be the cause of this war.
Yeah.
But then, another big part about this, it was a big conversation, but the two things that stuck out was that, I think, like, he wanted to die. But then also, somehow his father came up, and we find out that, like, he really despises his biological father. So, the reason why he is so loyal to Whitebeard is because Whitebeard was like, I'm your father now. Like, he looks to... That's why...
Darth Vader.
I am your father. I didn't realize that. But that's why he's Daddy Whitebeard, because he acted as a father to Ace. That's his father. That's his dad. So that was interesting. I want to know why he despises his father so much.
I mean, Luffy's chill about it, right?
Yeah. Because we know Dragon...
Luffy didn't even care, so...
He didn't know that Dragon was a big deal.
Yeah.
But it seems that something happened with... I mean, Ace is older. Maybe something happened before Luffy was born.
Ace got daddy issues.
Ace got daddy issues, but that's what we got, Zaddy Whitebeard.
So, that's it there, basically. So, what are your final thoughts? Like, how do you feel? What's your rating for this arc?
My rating for this arc... I feel I loved this. I did genuinely love this arc because the growth of Luffy, like, Luffy truly just, like, won my whole heart again. I think he won my whole heart the most in this arc. I mean, we've always loved him. Like,
I mean, who else did you see in this arc, so?
That's true. That's true. But Luffy has done such, like, admirable things in the past. But, like, this just, like, won me over completely, especially, like, what he did for Marguerite and everything. So, because of that, like, I would give it a solid 8.
8?
Solid 8, yeah.
Alright. I feel that. So, I guess we can get into it a little bit. There's no really hiding it since you kind of said that Impel Down stressing you out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what are we, like, 5 or 6 episodes into Impel Down? So, you want to give your quick thoughts so far on what you think about it?
It's fun, but it's intense. So far, also, if you are not into Impel Down, spoiler alert, because we are, and if you're only watching this because you're up to this arc, yeah, pause there. But, Impel Down has become stressed. So far, we know that Ace is below level 4. They're, guessing he's on, like, 5 or 6 or something. But they know he's below level 4 because he finds Luffy bumps into his old pal Chop Buggy, and
Buggy for Pirate King.
Yeah,
He's
which
like,
is
I don't know, I feel about that.
which is so funny. He also bumps into number 3.
Mr. 3. Number 3 is from Codename Kids Next Door.
Mr. 3, sorry, or San.
Son!
No, number 3, Mr. 3. So this is fun. This is a blast from the past, and yeah, we're just going down the levels so far, and I'm just so curious to know what's gonna happen to Hancock, if she's gonna get busted, that if they find out that she's the one that let them in. I'm so interested. It's also just kind of funny that, like, they're like, no one's ever, like, come into Impel Down before without us knowing.
I mean, who would break into it? Right?
Yeah, who would break into it? Like, this, like, hell on earth, basically.
I mean, what's interesting for you, so sometimes when you say certain things, I cannot tell if you have Googled something and seen something you shouldn't have seen. There's certain moments where I'm like, why are you saying this? I was like, just the way you phrase things sometimes. But when we were in Annie's lobby, when you was even in the review, you said it, you was like, you know, I thought we were gonna get like a full on, like, going into the prison and, like, breaking Tom out and breaking all these other people out.
Oh, because I was hoping that we would see Tom, but because we're going, I didn't know there was more than one prison in this world. Well, I guess it makes sense that there's more than one prison, but like one big government prison in the Grand Line anyway. I thought Enies Lobby was like the one because they made it seem so scary that like, no. I was like, because it was like a big like gate. So I'm like, what if the gate is what takes you to Impel down? It's not connected. No. It's not connected. Okay. Anyway, so way different parts of the world.
We'll get you a map because geography.
Geography is everything.
Yeah.
I do want to learn more about the geography of this world. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I genuinely thought in Enies Lobby we were going to go into a prison, but here we are. We're in an actual prison. We got what I wanted, but definitely I did not expect this.
She's like, not this way. I didn't want it this way.
I thought Enies Lobby was, I thought we were going to find Tom, but Tom, I guess, is definitely dead, so whatever. Yeah. Unless if Tom is in Impel. No, he's not. He went to Enies Lobby.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so.
I wonder who else we're going to find. We're going to watch One Piece after this. Yeah. It's almost midnight, but that's okay.
Yeah. You probably got like an episode in you at best.
Yeah.
So let's end the video here. But before we end this video, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel as well as that notification bell. Also, big news. Channel recently monetized, so we now have memberships available on the channel. It's basically YouTube's version of OnlyFans. But there are no pictures like that there, obviously. But yeah, I have some content that's available for the memberships. Right now it's $2.99. It's the only tier we have available currently, and you can find some live reactions to One Piece anime stuff as well as Berserk live reactions that I have blocked behind there just to kind of avoid maybe some potential copyright issues and things like that. Plan on adding more stuff there in the future as the channel continues to grow. But if you want to help the channel grow and to help fund whatever nonsense, unboxing videos, whatever, more shirts for Beth to wear in these videos, who knows, I don't know, and just help us in any way in the channel, feel free to join there. If not, all good, content will still always come up on the channel as always. So on that note, y'all, enjoy your life.
I'm feeling great and feel the vibe. I'm really grateful we alive. And I'm feeling great cause lately I've been on the way to something great. And I feel alive cause I create like every day and I'm on to